The 2010s, when the sun shined brighter, the air was fresher, and certain diseases didn't exist yet. Now, I might be a little biased, but I do have to say the 2010s was one of the greatest decades in human history. Me being a 2006 baby, while I didn't really get to enjoy the 2000s, I experienced every single second of the 2010s. From the TV shows, to the music, to the toys, to the fashion. Okay, maybe not all types of fashion, but you get the point. The 2010s were really something to enjoy and cherish. The nostalgic memories and times of this era in life just hit different. And before all the 90 old heads comment, no, we don't give a damn about the 90s, I get tired of all you 30-year-old ass men thinking y'all are superior to us 2000s babies. Take your high blood pressure and diabetes medication and sit the f down. Anyway, in today's video, I'm going to be taking you down a trip of memory lane and discussing the best and also worst parts of growing up in the 2010s. Starting off this list with arguably the most iconic part of the 2010s, we got the TV shows / cartoons. Back then, you had Ben 10, Victorious, iCarly, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Jessie, and one of my personal favorites, Power Rangers. I can't tell you how sexually arousing it was to watch grown men fight in tights and rainbow colored suits. She used to be making me get an erection. Too much? My bad. The 2010s were truly the peak of television. It just felt like every show used to be a banger. Now, for anyone else who grew up back in the 2010s, you probably know that there was always a debate on what was the best TV channel. I'm talking gang wars, and rights used to break out from people debating which channel stood on top as king of channels: Nickelodeon, Disney, or Cartoon Network. Now, obviously, all these channels were fire and had some goated ass shows. Honestly, I remember growing up watching all three of these channels. I'd watch Cartoon Network in the morning, Disney in the middle of the day, and Nick more towards the nighttime. All three of these channels were just so damn good that I couldn't just watch one. I had to watch all three. But with all due respect, without question, we all know who truly reigns king among all of these TV channels. And that is no other than Cartoon Network. I mean, just look at all of these godly, legendary, historic cartoons: Adventure Time, Regular Show, Amazing World of Gumball, Lego Ninjago, Total Drama Island, Steven Universe. The nostalgic feeling I get just from talking about these masterpieces damn near bring me to tears. Now again, that's not to discredit Nick and Disney. These two channels were definitely known for their legendary live action comedy shows, my favorites being Jessie and Casey Undercover. Jessie was just an awesome show filled with such innocent humor that we all loved, and that one lazy fat nigga. And Casey Undercover because, well, Zendaya was the main character. What else really has to be said? All in all, 2010s TV is one of the undisputed best time periods for televised entertainment, and if you disagree, you're just wrong. Next is gaming. Now, it might just be because I'm getting older, but it feels like gaming in recent years has only gotten worse and worse. It feels like nowadays game developers and gaming studios couldn't care less about the actual game itself and whether or not the game is a good product. They only think about trying to get as much money as possible and couldn't care less if the player base actually enjoys the game or not. For example, COD in the day was easily and consistently one of the best games and game franchises. For every new COD drop, people were on their hands and knees giving blowjobs just so they could get their hands on the new COD. Nowadays, every COD game is basically just a money grab that they know people are gonna hate but couldn't care less because they know these peons are still gonna buy it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a fucking idiot. I understand the number one goal of any company is to always make money, and that should be the goal. But I feel like games back in the 2010s were actually made with love, time, and passion. You can tell that when these companies created these games, they created them to last. I mean, think about it. Back then, that's when games like Minecraft came out, GTA 5 came out, Rocket League came out, The Last of Us came out. These are all still games and gaming titles that are extremely popular to this day. You could tell back then, while obviously they still cared about making money, it felt like they still prioritized the happiness and satisfaction of the player base. And don't get me started on how Fortnite just completely ruined the gaming industry. One, it feels like every company is trying to implement some type of battle royale mode into their games now. And it seems like every game has some type of battle pass. Like, you think I'm about to pay $10 and grind for these weak ass prizes? And then you have the item shop system, where pretty much if you want any type of cool looking skins or gear in any online game, you have to purchase it, instead of how it used to be when games actually had unlockable items that you could get just from simply playing the game. Now every little thing is behind some type of paywall. The wave of monetizing every little aspect of a game and locking what seems like every little item / skin behind a paywall that Fortnite started has only increased the amount of money grab type of games that are released nowadays. Next, we got YouTube. Now, for any of you that watched YouTube back in the 2010s, you would know that this was easily the prime era of YouTube. You had Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, Sundeef, iDubbbz, Smosh, Filthy Frank, Corey Kenshin, Jake Paul. Wait, who the f put Jake Paul on this list? That 2012 to 2017 run on YouTube was something for the history books, with the number of legends created in that time frame. I just remember how it seemed like YouTube was truly at its peak in terms of entertainment. 2010's YouTube was filled with so many legitimately funny and talented YouTubers. Not to mention, YouTube back then felt more genuine and passionate. It feels like YouTubers nowadays are just soulless as with the "hey guys, welcome back to my channel" be sounding robotic as fuck. No passion, no dedication, no enthusiasm. You can tell that back in the day, YouTubers weren't really in it only for the money. They were really in it for the fun and joy of it all. Not to mention, YouTube felt more creative back then as well. Nowadays, it feels like YouTubers just copy and paste whatever's the most trending or viral thing there is to do. Now, I know, I'm not one to talk when it comes to following trends. I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game. I loved how much more creative and innovative YouTube was at this time. It felt like there were distinct differences between one YouTuber to the next. Nowadays, because everybody pretty much just does whatever is trending, majority of YouTubers lose their distinctiveness, and it really doesn't feel like there's much of a difference from one YouTuber to another. I mean, think about it. At this time, you had people like Filthy Frank coming up with whole TV show like skits, all revolving around multiple characters. You had people like Vanos Gaming with some of the funniest gaming videos on YouTube. You had channels like iDubbbz with his hilarious content cops. The creators on YouTube during this era was what originally made me fall in love with YouTube as a kid. I honestly can't imagine growing up watching YouTube nowadays. You got Coco Melon, these cringy vlog channels, whatever the this is. The YouTube that this new generation has to deal with is probably the reason kids are as dumb as ever. I mean, look at this demonic ass shit. You can't tell me this type of stuff doesn't rot and completely eviscerate the little brain cells that most kids have left. Next, we have the music. Now, I feel like I don't need to remind you guys of the beautiful soul-filled music of the 2010s. The amount of bangers that came out year after year after year. I mean it when I say rappers during this era definitely had way more talent than a lot of rappers today. Off the top of my head, I think about rappers like Fetty Wap, 21, Uzi, X Juice, Post Malone, Chance the Rapper, Travis Scott, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Chief Keef, Lil Pump. Yo, who the f keeps putting these bums on this list? I could go on for an hour, but y'all get the point. Amazing talent was popping up year after year. And also, I understand that pretty much all these guys I mentioned still make music, but it was around this time that they actually blew up and became super famous. Overall, the music during this time period was just unmatched. Not to mention, it felt like rappers actually thought about and took time to create their songs slash albums. A lot of these rappers' music and hit songs are still extremely good, even if you were to listen to them today, years later. Nowadays, it seems like rappers will no bullshit spend 30 minutes making an album, release it, and wonder why that shit went certified paper plate. Songs in general back then just had so much more energy and passion put into them. Nowadays, you got rappers who make 30-second songs and blow up on TikTok. These songs are so ass and so forgettable that most people only remember the first 2 lines of the song. A lot of these rappers also seem to copy and paste each other's sound. It makes it nearly impossible for a lot of these new gen rappers to really even stand out from one another. Now, I don't mean to sound like an old head, but personally, newer music, especially music made in this new TikTok era, just seems extremely lazy and mid. Next, we got the toys. Not those type of toys, you dirty fuck. I'm talking about the kids' toys. The kids' toys back then was something truly legendary. You had silly bands, hex bugs, Beyblades. The ridiculous amount of enjoyment I got from playing with these toys as a kid is what makes me miss being a kid so much. Do you know the amount of enjoyment I got from having Beyblade battles with the homies in the neighborhood? And don't even get me started with the silly bands. These things were pretty much used as a status symbol back in elementary school. The more you had, the cooler you were. No cap. Used to buy whole packs of these things and come to school with their arm covered in silly bands. And if you didn't have silly bands back then, well, you were pretty much casted out by the rest of the class. Nobody wanted to be caught dead talking to the brokey with no silly bands, you fucking loser. But what I think was easily the compiest toys back then had to be the Pokemon cards. I remember pulling up to school with a deck full of the rarest and totally not fake Pokemon, ready to clap any nigga who dared challenge me. We used to have our little Pokemon clans and go against each other. We used to have tournaments where whoever won got to take the other person's best card. We were selling and trading these things like we were on the black market. I'm not lying when I tell you I dead started trapping and hustling Pokemon cards for side money back then. And it was hella effective too. I used to be selling niggas totally real and not fake rare Pokemon cards for like $20 a card. Now granted, obviously now with how terrible the economy is, $20 might get you a half-eaten bag of hot Cheetos and a Diet Coke. But back then, as a kid, $20 was the equivalent of like $1,000. I'm talking I was moving the packs and making a bag off these cards. Overall, the toys from the 2010s were certified S tier. Next, we got sleepovers. Now, I don't even know if kids in this generation even have sleepovers anymore, simply because the vast majority of kids just sit inside, eat Cheetos, and call people racial slurs on Fortnite all day. But I remember how truly fun sleepovers with the boys as a kid used to be. We used to make pillow forts, play tag, tickle each other's balls. Wait, y'all ain't do that? It was just me? Okay. Sleepovers were truly the one thing that turned me from a boy into a man, just from the amount of absolutely idiotic shit we used to do. I'm talking playing tag in the middle of the night, playing ding dong ditch with the neighbors' doors, calling local pizza shops and requesting the most ridiculous orders. One of my favorite things to do at sleepovers was challenges, where we would dare one of our friends to do some stupid shit, like slap his dad in the back of the head, and if he did it, we'd all give him our best snack that we bought to the sleepover. But if he didn't, he'd have to give us his best snack, and then we'd make fun of him for being a wuss. And if you remember, being labeled as a wuss or a scaredy cat was one of the worst feelings. So a lot of the times it didn't matter how stupid the dares got, we would practically do all of them. The degeneracy we displayed back then, even as little kids, was truly something I miss and sometimes wish I could go back to, except for the school part. I'm never missing that shit. Y'all can have all of that. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video right here. In the comments down below, let me know what you guys think was the best part of the 2010s. Again, I don't want to see any of you old head 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 100-year-old men in the comments talk about how the 1980s was so amazing. We do not give a fuck. But anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, please do not forget to like the video, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.